And welcome back. Our next guest is a certified mental health professional and the visionary founder of Conveaux, which is a company that's designed to empower community building through culture, solution-focused conversations, as well as some engaging social events. Now, Conveaux provides invaluable resources and tools to help individuals engage in self-work, as well as improving their relationship experiences. And joining me now is Danisha Baughan, and thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
When we talk about the power of conversation, I think sometimes we underestimate it, but there's a lot of power there, and you're helping people through the power of conversation.
Right, correct.
So share with us a little bit about Conveaux.
Okay, so Convo started back in 2016. It actually started in my living room, exactly what it sounds like, conversation, gathering people around and just, sharing dialogue and support around the same concerns that we had, which then was relationships, which still is relationships. Right. So we gathered around to just come up with some solutions and have a good time. I thought it would be like just a simple Saturday night with my friends and family, but little did I know it turned into something greater. So by the time like 2018 came around, it became public. So I went from like a living room of 20 family and friends to a public venue of 75 people.
Wow. Yeah. So I think a lot of times when people have conversations, we have conversations and we're just talking.
Yeah.
But the reality is that we fail in the area of solutions. You are solutions driven, right?
Very,
and
right.
If we're going to talk, we're going to have some solutions with
Right.
it, right? So how do we get to a place of having these solution-based conversations?
First of all, it's building that community. You find a community that actually wants to participate in these conversations and a community that's like-minded. So sometimes you have, your platforms like social media, and that's where people like to keep their conversations. But then you have the people that want to come off of those platforms and have that interaction and get face-to-face and kind of have that up front and center dialogue and not just complain, like you said. We don't want to focus on the problems, but you find a community that wants to focus on the solutions.
And you've got a Connect app.
Yes, yes.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, so the actual events, it's never enough for people. You have these events, they want more events, they want more interactions, they want more engagement, and they want to keep up with what's coming up. So I decided to come up with the app, and I thought to myself, I'm like, if it was a little bit different from social media and it's more intentional and it's really connected to what Convo does in person, we can build an app where people could keep up with the events, keep up with the intentional conversations, and they could keep up with our upcoming engagements or anything new that we have going on, like our merchandise.
Right.
So they find the merchandise on there. And one of the most important things about the app, I have a card game called Convo Cards. A lot of people kept asking, like, we have the physical card deck, and they were like, if it was digital, when they lose their cards, they have the digital version. So the app was my way to just provide the merchandise and the resources that people are looking for outside of the event.
When we talk about the conversations, I'm always curious to find out, what are people really talking about these days?
Relationships.
Right.
Yeah, and relationship issues and gender wars. And then, we throw in a little bit of politics and self-work. There's a lot of focus on self, which I love it. Everyone is trying to find a way to heal outside of, like you mentioned, I'm in the mental health field.
Right.
People are looking for non-traditional ways to heal. So you have like those specific conversations that are going on, those areas that people are focused on. And when we have our events, that's what we focus on. But Convo finds a very creative way to bring about these conversations. We don't just sit down and have a conversation. We provide an experience. We provide an atmosphere that makes it comfortable to have the conversation. So when you're talking about relationships, you're doing something that you don't even realize is healing you and helping you continue to work outside the event.
As the founder and one who's, the visionary behind this, you're seeing this thing take place and you're hearing people have these conversations. You're seeing solutions come to the forefront. Anything surprising you about the things that you're hearing?
It surprises me that sometimes we are still having the same issues, like over and over.
Right.
And we're having the same issues in different languages. It's like, man versus woman, and we're saying the same thing, and we're saying it in different languages, but it's like we all just want the same answers. That's what always surprised me. I'm like, do you guys realize you're saying the same thing?
Right. So when you have relationships and we know marriage, one of the biggest things is communication, right? And having those conversations. you got a business of marriage event.
Yeah.
And for those people who didn't know, walk us through and the expectations there.
So it's funny because the business of marriage is really a play on words. A lot of people at first glance believe that it's about marriage, and it's not. It's actually what it sounds like. It's the business aspect. So the preparation, even before marriage, it's the preparation of self to even be in a sustainable relationship. And then it's exactly what it looks like. Sometimes we say marriage is work, right? It's a business, it's a contract. So what are like the components of that preparation for marriage or that contract to get you ready and in a sustainable marriage or relationship? So that's what the business of marriage is about, and it actually focuses on the financial aspect of dating, relationship, and marriages, and are you financially ready to take that step?
So for people who say, listen, this really intrigues me, I want to definitely find out more in terms of getting, being a part of this dialogue.
Yeah.
What do they do?
First of all, they have to follow us on social media at Conveaux, Conveaux. Follow us, show up. Don't just, stay on the page and kind of watch. Come to an event. A lot of people's concerns when they come to an event, they think that they have to talk, they have to engage. Of course, it's more helpful if you do. But just being in the space sometimes is helpful. And by your third event, you'll find yourself arguing with people in the room.
Right.
So, or just having a good time. But follow us, follow the website, subscribe to the email list, and just be present.
So here we are in 2024. You started 2016. How have things transcended for you looking at the journey right now from where you started to where you are right now?
It's grown in so many different ways. Like it started out with one focus, and then it just started to branch off into so many different areas. That's how Culinary Convo came about, because food
Right.
and community and just dialogue over food.
Hand in hand.
Yeah,
Right.
and people were very drawn to that. The business of marriage, we're always going over financial literacy, being prepared for finances, and then we know the number one cause of divorce and breakup is finances, so that came out of it. And then each year it was just new partnerships, new collaborations that all were centered around everything under the umbrella of Convo. So it's grown a lot since then.
So what do you have coming up that people can join into? We talk about the fall. You got a fall event?
Yes. So this fall we are bringing back Culinary Convo. That's one of the favorites for people. Again, the food, the nutrition, the cooking, the talks. That's coming back this fall. And the business of marriage will actually be partnering with some local community organizations and financial institutions.
Well, we want to definitely make sure people get connected there and do that. For yourself, obviously, what's the greatest takeaway that you get out of this whole experience, seeing people come together, have these conversations? For you, what's the biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway is just seeing us get on one page, if just for a second. I love to see that. I love to see us just engage and, want to do the work. That's my favorite part of the takeaway, is wanting to do the work. And when I get the feedback from people, it's fulfilling. It makes me know that I have to keep going.
Right. Well, Danisha, thank you so much for coming and sharing,
you.
and continue success with Convo.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, listen, I want you to know, if you want more information, please follow her at, now is this, was it Danny?
Danny.
Danny? I want to make sure I got correct now.
Yeah, it's Danisha, but they call me Danny.
Right. Danny _ Bo at _, and then don't go anywhere, because guess what? We got more open coming up right after this.